Welcome to the channel. This is Clarity Empress, the Empress of Clarity, here to bring you a collective energy reading for my Clarity Empress Collective. I hope everybody's doing well. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment in the comment section. Let me know if the reading resonates with you. Make sure you ring that bell. That is, excuse me. That way you'll be notified anytime I come on. So we're gonna get this thing popping. We'll get this thing popping shortly. Classes is showing. Class is in a session, y'all. So just get in here, get in here, get in here. As my man, I think his name is Michael something. As he would say, get in here, get in here, get in here. Y'all, okay, before we get really started with class, so I had some really interesting conversations today. I had my little women's group. It's not really little, but I had a women's group meeting. And interestingly enough, the women, we're all like, that vibration is very similar. The vibration of transition, things changing, nothing is staying the same. We're not trying to make it be the same. Everybody is looking forward to growth, to availability of time, freedom, wealth, abundance, happiness, peace, joy. Everybody's looking forward to that. So this year coming up, we always look to the next year, right? So a lot of us is just really ready to leave 2025 behind. But excited about the possibilities of 2026 and beyond. It's surreal. Given that 2025 has been one of them tumultuous years of up and down and full of anxiety, but um, I don't know. I feel centered. A lot of the women I talked to tonight feel centered. And we are ready for changes. We are ready for growth. We are ready for transformation. I'm still seeing a lot of endings, but I'm also seeing new beginnings for people. But it's all about that transformation energy. All right. So, what's the deck I want? I got that Baltimore song in my head. I don't know the name of it, but I like it. Why don't I see that deck? I feel like it's in my face and I'm not looking in the right place. Or did I not bring it back with me? What the hell did I do with it? Interesting. What did I do with that deck? Peace, sis. Peace. All right. Fuck. Damn neck. Oh, me oh my. Where did I put the darn deck? I'm just using pink deck, honey. Bear with everybody. All right. Welcome, family. So we get ready to get started. Class is in session. So, the topic of tonight's reading and message, rather, is if you feel abandoned, this is what you need to do. Now, when I host my class sessions, I do use a transcript from another video series. And the reason why is because the sound, I think it's an AI voice, but it's very monotone. It just has no life and no energy. But what's being said is important, right? So we're going to go with that. I just ask that you have some patience, some peace, and you hang in there. Tomorrow night will be live donation readings. The pinned comment will tell you what you need to do. Yeah, I don't know what I did. I realized I got several decks missing since Halloween. So I think I must not have brought that bag home or in the house or something. What the hell I did? Alright. Spirit, tell me about tonight's reading as right before I get into this class session. Yes. See? Abandonment, wasting time, 7. Sometimes you have to let shit go. Kenny Rogers say you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Sometimes you have to know when to let something go. Like your investment in something is no longer worth it. Release your time, attention, and investment. Tell me more. Oh, yep. You got to know when to give it up. Wow. You got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Troubles when they come, you better count your money. While you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough to gamble when the dealing's done. I remember that my aunt used to love her some country music. That was one of her favorite songs when I was a kid, and I understood it, so I was like, I like that song. But it's the truth. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Yep, somebody is wow. Interesting how these cards are coming out. Thank you, Spirit, for the confirmation. 4 of Cups in reverse, the 9 of Wands in reverse, and the 7 of Coins in reverse. It's time to let some shit go. It's all right. It's okay. Yeah, third party situation, no cooperation, it ain't working out. It's okay, but you got to accept that it's not working out. Yep. 8 of Cups. But here's the problem. This is the likely outcome. Somebody, either you walking back to a different situation that from the past, or you have a hard time letting go. That be the hardest thing, to release something you know is not working. Let that shit go. All right, bottom of the deck, the Magician in reverse. Yeah, because somebody's manipulating. And that's what we're going to talk about. So the title of the class really has more to do with why your indifference hurts somebody more than any goodbye. Because once you have actually done the work to release something, that hurts a person that's been avoiding their feelings and avoiding accountability with you more than goodbye. Because goodbye they can handle. Okay, goodbye is not forever, we could try again. But when you are detached emotionally, oh, that's a whole different ball game. So again, let me go to the script. So an avoidant can ignore a goodbye, but they can't ignore the moment you stop needing them, because goodbye is still emotion. The emotion is still connection. Even if it's painful, even if it's final, a goodbye gives them a script they can file away. I needed space. It was too intense. It wasn't the right time. As long as they have a script, their nervous system can stay protected from the raw reality of what your presence meant. But when you stop needing them, when your energy no longer circles their moves, when your life no longer pauses for their silence, that is not a sentence that you speak. It's the reality you live. It's a and reality is what their avoidance system can't easily rationalize, because the currency in so many avoidant dynamics was never just love. It was your dependence on the connection to feel stable, your willingness to chase reassurance, your habit of turning their withdrawal into your emergency. When you needed them, even quietly, it confirmed something that felt safe to their ego and their fear at the same time. They still mattered. That they could come close and pull back, and you will still be there holding the emotional thread. The moment you stop needing them, that thread goes slack, and they finally have to feel the weight of their own distance without your constant effort smoothing the edges. You have to understand that stop needing them what I'm sorry. You have to understand what stop needing them actually looks like, because it's not coldness. Okay? It's not cruelty. It's not pretending you never cared. It's just waking up and deciding your worth will not be negotiated by the speed of their replies. It's feeling the odage that I'm sorry. That's not a word. I don't know what word that is. But it's feeling that you don't need to double text and you choose to breathe instead. It's refusing to apologize for your needs just to keep them comfortable. It's letting a vague message stay vague instead of translating it into hope. It's making plans, keeping them, and not leaving. Empty seats in your life for someone who shows up only when intimacy feels easy. Listen, all the dice cards, Spirit is already giving us the first set of cards that says basically it's time to divest from that situation. Okay, 7 of coins in reverse. It's time to give it up. Stop holding on. Stop holding out. Let the hope go. You know, people can always prove you wrong, but if you're holding hope, which means you're holding space, and it's got you pausing your life, it's time to release that. They don't need to take up that empty space. You know, stop making plans around the possibility of them showing up, right? And then you got the 4 of Cups here in reverse. That's apathy, discontent. You know what I'm saying? That's that misery. And that is like I'm just failing to be happy in the circumstances that I have or what I have chosen for myself, right? And then you got the 3 of coins in the challenge and a lesson. There was no teamwork anyway. They were not cooperating. All right, and then you got the 8 of Cups in reverse. So now somebody's struggling to move on, to let go. Maybe it's just, maybe if I just hold out a little bit longer. No, Spirit said no. We're giving you the indication. You're dealing with somebody with the Magician in reverse that's very manipulative. They would rather manipulate your emotions to make themselves feel better. Okay? They would play you in every turn and turn it against you. So you feeling bad, you apologizing for things you don't need to apologize for. Things you didn't even do. You know what I'm saying? So so the reason this hits an avoidant harder than a goodbye is simple. Your need to regulate them. When you stop needing them, you stop doing the invisible emotional labor. And they're left alone with the truth that the closeness you offered was a gift, not a guarantee. And you're left with a deeper truth, too. Your love is not alone. You keep extending while your peace goes unpaid. This is why your anger was never as threatening as you hoped. Anger is still energy, still engagement, still proof of a bond. A dramatic goodbye can become a story they retell themselves as justification. But your calm, the way you stop asking them for the same love in 10 different ways, the way you no longer chase closure from someone who kept you in confusion, that calm is a mirror that they can't easily shatter. It reflects back a truth their defenses hate. That you're not weak for loving them. You are actually powerful for staying as long as you did. And that you finally choose yourself when the cost of staying became self-erasure. And here's the part that matters the most. It's not a strategy to hurt them. If you turn indifference into a performance, your nervous system is still tied to their reaction. But real indifference is not numbness, it's clarity. It's what happens when your heart gets tired of paying the full price for half effort. Your mind might still miss them. Your memories might still soften you, but your standards stop bending to accommodate a pattern that's made you smaller. When an avoidant senses you no longer need them to feel okay, they often experience a quiet panic. But not because they're evil, but because they lose the one advantage that felt safe, your predictability. They used to know that you'd reach out first. Now they don't know, and that uncertainty forces self-awareness. They may check in with small messages or nostalgia, but underneath it's a question. Do they still have access to the old version of you? This is where your growth becomes your protection because you no longer get hypnotized by one warm day. You remember the pattern. You watch consistently, not charm. You listen to your nervous system, not just your longing. You stopping the need is not the same as closing the heart. You can care and still require safety. You can love and still refuse crumbs. You can miss someone and still choose a life that doesn't make you anxious for the basic intimacy. And whether they come back or not, this shift changes your whole life because you stop outsourcing your peace. You stop measuring your worth by how hard you can hold on to someone who keeps slipping away. You start realizing that the love you were trying to extract from them is the kind of love you must first offer yourself consistently. Protection, patience, and respect for your own needs. So yes, an avoidant can ignore a goodbye, but they can't ignore the moment you stop needing them because that moment dismantles the entire emotional economy that fed their distance. It doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it simply says, through your life and your calm, I am no longer available for love that requires me to disappear inside myself. Your indifference removes their power because it removes your reaction. And that sounds simple until you realize how much of the old dynamic was quietly built on you being emotionally predictable. With an avoidant, the power is rarely loud. It isn't always arrogance. It's usually control through distance, control through timing, control through the ability to pull away and watch you scramble to restore closeness. Your reactions, your follow-up texts, your long explanations, your anxious checking, your emotional rescue missions, they weren't just proof that you cared. They were oxygen that kept their distance feeling safe and effective. Every time they went cold and you got warmer, the pattern was reinforced. Every time they disappeared and you chased clarity, the pattern was reinforced. Every time they offered a crumb and you responded with a full heart, the pattern was reinforced. You weren't trying to feed their ego. You were trying to save the connection, but in that saving, you were accidentally taught their nervous system a dangerous comfort that they could stay half present and still remain central to your world. This is why dramatic goodbye often doesn't land the way you want it to. A goodbye can be processed like a scene, something they can file under. This is too much. It was intense. I needed space. And as long as they could turn your pain into a storyline, they get to avoid the deeper truth. But that indifference is not a scene. Indifference is the absence of the role you used to play. It is you no longer providing the emotional labor that made their avoidance feel consequence free. It is your refusing to be a constant translator of their mixed signals. Are you hearing me? Like, for real. Go ahead and interact with me if you hear this, if it resonates, if you understand. Go ahead and interact because I'll answer any questions. And I'm going to pull more cards in the meantime. But go ahead. Join in the conversation. So it's not you turning their silence into your emergency. It's you living like your worth is not up for negotiation based on whether they're having a warm day or a cold week. And the moment you do that, you remove the leverage they used to rely on because the avoidance system often depends on this silent equation. Distance creates pursuit. Withdrawal creates proof of care. Uncertainty creates your effort to stabilize them. When your reaction disappears, their equation collapses. They pull away and you don't chase. They go quiet and you don't fill the silence. They reappear casually, and you don't reward it with instant intimacy. Intimacy. That is what removes power, not because you're trying to dominate them, but because you're no longer participating in the emotional economy that kept you anxious. Like, you're not doing that back and forth shit no more. You're not playing those games with this person anymore. You understand what I'm saying? You're not trying to dominate them because you're no longer participating in the emotional economy that kept you anxious, right? And kept them comfortable. This shift is not cruelty, it's clarity. It's your nervous system finally choosing self-respect over self-abandonment. So this is like you becoming from an anxious attachment style into more of a secure attachment style. Why? Because you know your value and you know your worth. And this person can't trigger the response that they want from you now. They can't do that anymore. Now they have to recognize who you are and treat you accordingly, right? So you're not saying I don't care as a performance. You're saying I will not keep bleeding to prove I'm lovable. You know what I'm saying? You're saying I will not keep shrinking my needs so your distance can stay in control. And that's what makes it so powerful, is that you don't need to announce it. You don't need a grand speech. Your calm is the message. Your full life is the message. Your refusal to chase is the message. You may not see the inner response, but they feel a shift. They feel it. They feel it when the pattern doesn't play out. They feel it when they test the waters with a breadcrumb and you don't bite. They feel it when they expect you to be waiting in an emotional suspense instead you're living your day. They feel it when your energy is no longer orbiting them. Because for an avoidant, control is a way of regulating fear. It's how they protect themselves from the vulnerability of true closeness. Your reactions used to help keep them in that protective distance while still receiving the comfort of being wanted. When you no longer react, they have to face the unfamiliar discomfort, the possibility that you are not a guarantee. This is where your own growth gets tested too, because your body might still carry old habits. You might still feel the urge to explain, to check in, to fix the coldness before it becomes a loss. But your indifference, the real kind, isn't the absence of love. It is the presence of boundaries. It's the love with self-respect inside it. It's the part of you that finally believes you deserve steady care, not emotional roulette. It is the part of you that refuses to be trained by inconsistency. And if they come back, your indifference protects you from mistaking a moment for transformation. Because a bruised ego can return with sweet words. Guilt can return with warmth. Loneliness can return with nostalgia. But growth returns with consistency. The new version of you understands that missing you is not the same as choosing you. Did y'all hear that? Missing you is not the same as choosing you. A late night apology is not the same as emotional responsibility. A few good days are not proof of a new pattern. So you don't punish them. You don't melt into old roles. You observe and you require time. You require stability. You let behavior prove what words hint at. The most important truth is that your indifference is not about making them suffer. It's about rescuing you, rescuing you. Okay, from a cycle where your love was treated like an endless source. Hi, Tanya. Peace. So, where was I? I'm sorry. So, some people treat your love as a resource. Like, this person wants me. They can feel wanted by you and continue to live their life without you. I don't know how they do that, but they do that, right? So, you're not trying to win power over them. You're taking your power back from the habit of overgiving to someone who undershows up. That's why this shift changes your life, even if they never return. Your sleep improves when you stop waiting for someone mood to decide your peace. Your confidence grows when you stop asking permission to need what you need. Your identity expands when you stop making your world small enough to fit someone else's fear. So, yes, your indifference removes their power because it removes your reaction. But the deeper victory is that it returns your life to you. It returns your heart to a place where love is not a test of endurance. Okay? It returns your system to safety, your nervous system, to safety. It returns your future to your own hands where it belongs, not in the unpredictable space between someone's closeness and distance. When you stop chasing, they finally feel the weight of what they've been avoiding. And the weight is not a sudden punishment you invented, it's a natural consequence of a dynamic you were quietly carrying around for too long. Because in the beginning, you weren't chasing to control them. You were chasing to love them. You were chasing to understand them. You were chasing because your heart believed that if you stayed consistent enough, patient enough, gentle enough, they would finally feel safe enough to stay. I used to believe that too. Now I know better. You gave them the benefit of the doubt when they went cold. You explained your feelings with care instead of accusation. You reached out after silence because you wanted to repair, not victory. You told yourself that their distance was fear, not indifference. You thought your love could be the bridge to cross the fear, but chasing doesn't some does something dangerous in an avoided dynamic. It becomes a cushion between them and accountability. Okay? Your pursuit softens the impact of their withdrawal. Your emotional labor fills the gaps they left. Your anxious hope kept the connection alive. Even when they were not truly showing up, and even if they never said it out loud, your chasing trained their nervous system to believe they could pull away and still be held, that they could delay and still be prioritized. They could offer crumbs and still receive devotion. That is not because you were naive. It's because you were devoted and you believe love was supposed to fight harder than fear. You know, I tell you all the time, I don't love hard anymore. I don't believe that statement. I used to believe I had to love hard, right? Because I was trying to love challenging people throughout my life. I no longer believe that because I realize love don't vibrate on that frequency of hard. They are two opposite ends of the scale. Love is not supposed to be hard. Love is supposed to flow. And a lot of people think the harder you try to love them and the more they pull away, the more that they have you, but they want you. And that's all they need, right? So when you stop chasing, you remove the emotional insurance policy that protected them from feeling the real cost of their behavior. You're no longer the one smoothing the silence, no longer the one converting mixed signals into hope, no longer the one doing the emotional heavy lifting so they can stay comfortable and have presence. This is the moment, the reality that you have lived for months or years becomes their reality too. They don't just lose your attention, they lose your emotional management. They lose the reassurance that their distance will always be met with your pursuit. They lose the certainty that your love will stay on standby no matter how inconsistent they are. And this is why the shift hits so hard, because an avoidant doesn't only avoid you, they avoid the discomfort of intimacy, responsibility, and vulnerability. They avoid the moments that ask them to look in the mirror and admit, I'm the one creating the instability. Now, your chasing used to blur that mirror. It gave them a way to frame the situation as your intensity, your neediness, your impatience. But when you stop the chasing, the excuses get quieter and the truth gets louder. The truth is not you were too much. The truth is that you were asking for a level of presence they were not ready to maintain. This is where they start feeling the weight of what they kept avoiding. Not because you're trying to break them, but because you stop breaking yourself to keep them comfortable. They reach for their phone expecting the familiar pattern, and the familiar pattern isn't there. They pull away expecting you to rush in and repair the distance, and you don't. They return with a casual breadcrumb expecting instant warmth, and your energy is calm, measured, grounded. That calm is not indifference in the cold sense, it's indifference in the healed sense. The kind that says, I am no longer available for the love that requires me to abandon myself. And you might not see their internal reaction, but it's there. The restlessness, checking, the quiet anxiety, the late night thoughts, the subtle panic of not knowing if they can still access the old version of you, because the old version of you was predictable in a way that comforted their avoidance. You always tried. You always reached. You always hoped. You always carried the emotional rope, even when they loosened their grip. Now the rope is in your hands and you're no longer tossing it to across the distance every single time they step back. This is also where your healing becomes a shock to their system, because you start making their life, I'm sorry, because you start making your life bigger again. You stop waiting for their mood to decide your day. You stop rearranging your standards to fit their comfort. You stop treating inconsistency like a love language. Another thing, you stop making space for them in your life, right? I'm adding that part. Like, if they live with you, you stop turning over, expecting them to be on that side of the bed. You start enjoying the whole bed. You start realizing you can take yourself out. You don't need them no more. You ain't got to wash their dirty drawers. You ain't got to cook their meals. Now you can enjoy yourself. Get to know you a little bit better, if you know what I'm saying. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ring that bell anytime you see this. Comment in the comment section. Let me know if it resonates with you. And if you're here live, comment in the chat. Okay? So, you stop, like I said, you stop treating inconsistency like a love language. You don't announce it with drama. You show it through your choices. You reply when you actually want to. You say no without guilt. You protect your time. You prioritize your sleep. You invest in friendship, goals, routines, and joy that do not depend on whether they are warm this week. And for them, this is a new reality to face because they were used to your emotional economy. They were used, I'm sorry, where was I? Your chase was the currency that kept the system stable. When you remove that currency, the system has to rebalance. They finally feel what you have been feeling, that uncertainty. They finally taste what you swallowed for months or years or however long you dealt with this person. The fear of not knowing where they stand. They finally meet the consequence of acting like love is optional. The possibility that a person who loved them deeply has limits. They got to see that. But here's the part that you must hold with absolute clarity. This is not about making them suffer, okay? This is about refusing to suffer in the same way again. Okay? So now you got to keep in mind, this is about you. Yeah, remember, Cherry, I was saying that when somebody triggers you, it's like them having a remote control. And every time they press that button, they know how you gonna react. Well, this is you taking them batteries out that remote control. Well, them triggers don't work no more. Right? Your power is not watching them squirm. Your power is not returning to the role that made you small. Because the moment they feel the weight of what they avoided, they may come back with warmth, with nostalgia, with regret. And the old version of you would have collapsed into a relief, grateful that the silence finally ended, right? The new version of you does not confuse a moment of missing you with a pattern of choosing you. So you watch. You observe consistency. You let time reveal the truth. You don't punish. You don't rush. You don't close your heart, but you do protect it. You understand the real change is not a passionate message. It's a steady behavior. It's accountability that doesn't need to be begged for. It's emotional presence that doesn't vanish the moment intimacy gets real. It's a love that values you while you're still there. Not only when you're halfway out the door. When you stop chasing, they finally feel the weight of what they kept avoiding. The most beautiful part is that you also feel something you may not have felt in a long time. Your own center returning. Your self respect getting louder. Your heart learning that peace is a form of love too. The kind that finally includes you. Indifference doesn't is it's not punishment. It's your self-respect returning to the front seat. And that distinction is what saves you from turning your healing, I'm sorry, into another version of chasing, because you've if you've loved and avoided, you already know how easy it is to confuse dignity with drama. You think you need a sharp message, a final speech, a perfectly worded goodbye that makes them finally understand your pain? Nope. But an avoidant can turn a dramatic ending into a story they can manage. They can label you as emotional and intense and too much, and then hide behind the label to avoid the real truth. A friend of mine told me he was labeled as what she said, controlling, a narcissist. Yeah, only because he was trying to love somebody who couldn't face herself. Your indifference doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it doesn't try to win a courtroom of feelings. It simply removes your emotional labor from a system that was living off of it. Self respect returning to the front seat means you stop treating your heart like it has to earn basic decency. It means you stop translating mixed signals as they are a secret language of love. It means you stop apologizing for your needs just to keep someone comfortable in their distance. It means you don't need to punish anyone because you're no longer willing to punish yourself. And that might be the biggest shift you've ever made in your life. Because before this, your love was so loyal that it became a self sacrifice. You kept showing up even when you felt invisible, and you kept understanding even when you were being dismissed. You kept forgiving even when nothing changed, and you called it patience. But patience without mutual effort becomes self erasure. When self respect takes the front seat, you don't chase the conversation that never ends. You don't send the fifth message. You don't explain the same pain in different words. You don't try to force emotional clarity out of someone who benefits from emotional fog. You start responding in a way that protects your nervous system instead of performing for theirs. Your tone becomes calmer, your words become fewer, your availability becomes honest. You stop being a call for someone who only reaches out for you when it suits their comfort level. And this is not cruelty, this is the exact opposite. This is you finally choosing yourself, choosing love that includes you, the indifferent. The healthy kind is not pretending you feel nothing. It's refusing to let what you feel control what you tolerate. Yep. Yeah. Hold on, let me find my word. Where's my tolerate? Where's my word? Okay. You might still miss them. You might still remember the good moments. You might still have nights where your chest tightens, where a song or a place triggers a memory that feels like it's pulling you backwards. But self respect says, I can feel all of that and still not return to a pattern that broke me. I can love what was real and still refuse what was harmful. I can care about you and still care about me more than I care about keeping this illusion alive. Ooh, if y'all don't get this clarity tonight, why you think we Clarity Empress on this channel, okay? If you don't get this clarity tonight, so This is why indifference hits differently for an avoidant, because their comfort often often came from your predictability. You were the one that repaired the silence. You were the one who softened the conflict. You were the one who reached out first. Your emotional consistency made their inconsistency feel safe. And when your self-respect steps forward, you stop doing that invisible job. You stop uh, being the emotional safety net that allows someone else to keep their one foot out the door. I always feel like you just stop doing that mental gymnastics to keep this whole situation alive. You stop overthinking. You stop that rumination, right? Your calm becomes a boundary. Your full life becomes a boundary. Your refusal to over explain becomes a boundary. And you might think, how is calm stronger than anger? Because anger is still engagement. Anger proves attachment. Anger says, you can disrupt my peace, but indifference powered by self-respect says something far more terrifying to an avoided system. You no longer have access to the version of me who survived on your crumbs. You no longer get the emotional benefit of my love without the emotional responsibility of showing up. Self-respect, returning to the front seat, also means you stop seeing their behavior as your homework. You stop trying to decode the delays, the mood swings, the distance, the sudden warmth followed by a cold withdrawal. You stop turning yourself into an emotional detective, and you stop making their fear your full-time job. You start asking new questions. Not how do I get them to stay, but how do I make my life feel safe again? That new question is the doorway into peace. This is where you begin building a life that doesn't revolve around their readiness. You make plans without hesitation. You protect your sleep. Ooh, let me tell you something about protecting your sleep. I remember I used to have the phone next to my head out of concern. And eventually, I mean, besides having it on the charger, I sleep hard. Like, I snore like a bear, so you know. You make plans without hesitation. You protect your sleep. You invest in friendships that feel steady. You pour energy into goals that don't vanish overnight. You reclaim your routines, your health, your laughter. You stop leaving empty space in your schedule for someone who shows up only when intimacy feels convenient. And each time you choose yourself, in a small moment, you rebuild the trust within your own heart. You prove to yourself that you will not abandon you again. Now, if they come back, your respect is what kept you from confusing a moment with transformation. Because a return can be triggered by ego, guilt, loneliness, a fear of loss. But real growth, shows up in patterns. Real growth shows up in ordinary days, not just emotional peaks. Real growth shows up when you express a need and they don't vanish. When you set a boundary and they don't punish you for it. When you ask for consistency and they don't call you demanding. Your self-respect helps you to slow the pace. It helps you to require evidence. It helps you to resist the addictive high of a reunion when you know the withdrawal of inconsistency is what's nearly destroyed your peace. In this part, that might be the hardest to admit, your indifference is not about making them feel small. It's about refusing to keep feeling small yourself. It's about telling the truth with your behavior. You are not available for half love. You're not accessible to patterns that keep your nervous system in fight or flight. You are no longer the person who will trade dignity for temporary closeness. So when you become indifferent in this way, you're not punishing them. You're finally honoring yourself. You see, this is more about you than them when it gets to this point. You're finally letting your love be guided by standards, not fear. You're finally choosing the kind of emotional safety you kept trying to create inside someone who wasn't ready to hold it. You are finally stepping out of that role that made their distance feel powerful and your devotion feel endless. You are returning to yourself calmly, firmly, and without apology. The deepest pain for them is realizing you outgrew the version of love that fed their distance, because for an avoidant their comfort was never just your love. It was the version of you that kept adapting to their fear. The version of you that stayed soft even when you were starving for clarity. The version of you that kept explaining your heart like it needed permission to exist. Pause. I'm going to read the cards. Child, honey, child, tell me more, Spirit. Tell me about this wasted time and investment. What is that about, Spirit? Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is realizing what she deserves. Her own cup filled. And not necessarily filling somebody else's cup. Her intuition is, screaming at her. Because the Queen of Cups is just as intuitive as the High Priestess. Because her emotions are like little sensors. They go out, they feel. It's an instant thing. Just like how our nervous system feels heat and we move our hand real fast. Her emotional sensors give her the information. They survey the land. They let her know what's safe and what's not safe. And what I'm getting here is the safety of refocusing that energy on self and refusing to invest in something that is a waste of time, a waste of energy. Tell me more, Spirit. Yeah, King of Swords. This is the decision being made right now. This person is realizing they need to give up that facade. They need to give up that avoidance. They're getting self-awareness right now. But it's in the mind. Might not be in the heart space, not be emotional right now, but somebody is getting the clarity they need to understand what they have lost. Tell me more, Spirit. Yeah, this person realizes they have lost and they have losses, and that their foundation with you does not exist in the way it used to. Again, the old version of you is gone, dead and gone. And so this person doesn't have access to you, that foundation. They don't have you offering anymore. And they're sad about that. They're apathetic about that, because this is clarifying the Four of Cups in reverse. Tell me more, Spirit. Yeah, King of Cups. This person was very needy, very emotional, very manipulative. Again, like this magician energy. But this person used your emotions against you. This person would, they treated you in a way that was, how I'll put this, it's like they took advantage of your compassion. They took advantage of your heart space. So the energy that you put into things and put into them, this person took advantage of that. Tell me more, Spirit. And then we got the Queen of Wands in reverse. So if this person, let's just say they're lustful, they may be attracted to a Queen of Wands, or they can't let the Queen of Wands go. But baby, this is a third party that did not work out, right? Because the Three of Coins is here. What that's given is that the Queen of Cups is the one that walked away. The Queen of Cups, the loving, intuitive person, she walked away from this dynamic, this whole situation. But there's this person who can't let go of the karmic Queen of Wands in reverse energy. Somebody who is sexually exploitive. You know what I'm saying? That puts themselves out, or kind of like basically a raggedy bitch. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who was just out for self, and they use what they got to get what they want, type of thing. Yeah, and then we got the Page of Swords. So this person is, I don't know, manipulated highly manipulated, but they also are very manipulative. Page of Swords, the air sign energy. It's also somebody very curious, and it is somebody who it indicates that somebody who watches you and how you move. And this person could clearly see, even by the cards here, that you're no longer invested in them because of their investment or lack of release from this Queen of Wands. Let me tell you, the Queen of Wands is also a witch, okay? I don't say that much, but she is. She is a witch that knows the spells. She knows how to use certain energies to get what she wants and keep her hooks in the people. She might even you might as well be a devil energy in that she's very selfish. She's very controlling. Okay, and she will trauma bond. And I feel like this person has a trauma bond with a raggedy bitch energy. That's why the Eight of Cups is in reverse. They probably are hoping, just like you were hoping for them, that the Queen of Wands would change her ways, maybe become more like the Queen of Cups. But that's not going to happen. She's still the Queen of Wands. So, yep. Yeah, don't we? The version in you that turned their silence into your responsibility, their coldness into your challenge, and their half effort into your full hope. You didn't do that because you were weak. You did that because you loved deeply. You believed in potential. You were trying to create safety for someone who couldn't fully hold safety yet. But what quietly happened over time is that your devotion became part of their emotional architecture. Your chasing became the safety net under their distance. Your quick forgiveness became the escape route from accountability. Your patience became the proof that they could keep one foot out the door and still receive the love that was, I don't know what that word is, but I guess they're trying to say all in. So when you outgrew that version of yourself, it doesn't look like you leaving. It looks like you evolving into someone they can't control with silence anymore. You don't spiral the way you used to. You don't double text with that shaky hope. You don't soften your standards to keep the peace. You don't rush to repair what you didn't break. You don't reward the minimum with maximum access to your heart. And that is that part that hits them the hardest, because their old map of you no longer works. They used to know your rhythms, your triggers. They used to know if they pulled away, your love will pull harder. If they went quiet, your anxiety would fill the space. If they returned with breadcrumbs, you would greet them like it was a miracle. Your old energy was predictable in a way that kept their avoidance comfortable. Your new energy is not unpredictable not an unpredictable as, sorry, let me reread this sentence. Your new energy is not unpredictable as a game. It is unpredictable because it's free. Outgrowing that version of love means that you stop treating inconsistency like a personality quirk you must tolerate. It means you stop translating mixed signals into meaning. It means you stop believing that your love has to be proven through endurance. You start measuring a relationship by the simplest truth. Does this feel safe? Does this feel mutual? Does this feel consistent enough for my nervous system to relax? Does this feel true? Does this feel honest? I'm adding that because, again, I got to feel safe in my relationships. I've learned that now. That's something I didn't understand before about myself. Even though I knew how to cut somebody off and walk away, I realized it's emotional safety that I'm seeking. As why I will cut you the fuck off real quick. Right? Does this feel consistent enough for my nervous system to relax? And the moment you start asking those questions, you begin stepping away from the kind of love that fed their distance, the kind of love that made it easy for them to be half present while still feeling needed. And sometimes they don't even realize that that's what they missed at first. You might think they miss you, but what they often miss is the access to the old version of you, the version who would wait, who would chase, who would keep the emotional door unlocked even after being hurt. They missed the comfort of knowing you would be there no matter how confusing they were. They missed the relief of not having to work as hard because you did so much of the emotional lifting. That is not an insult to your love. That's proof of how powerful your love actually was. It was so stabilizing that it became an invisible support beam into their life. So when you outgrew the structural shapes, they reached for the old patterns and it wasn't there. They expect your reaction and they find you calm. They expect your pleading and they meet your standards. They expect your instant forgiveness and they meet your pause. That pause is not coldness, it's self respect. Finally occupying the place where anxiety used to sit. Your growth is not a performance, it's a boundary that lives in your body, in your tone, in your choice, in the way you no longer abandon yourself to keep someone else comfortable. This is why your indifference, the healthy kind, hurts in a deeper way than any dramatic ending. A dramatic ending can be dismissed, it can be framed emotional intensity, conflict, a moment in time. But your growth cannot be dismissed that easily. Your growth is a reality that says you don't get the old version of me anymore. You don't get the version who fights alone. You don't get the version who turns your distance into an invitation to try harder. You don't get the version that mistakes that bare minimum for a reason to hope. And you want to understand something important about yourself here. Outgrowing that version of love does not mean you stop being loving. It means you finally stop being the only adult in the connection. It means you finally realize that their empathy without boundaries becomes, I'm sorry, that empathy without boundaries becomes self neglect. It means you finally accept that love keeps you anxious is not love that will sustain you. It means you decided that the price of closeness cannot be your self-respect. You can still care about them and outgrow the dynamic. You can still miss them and refuse the cycle. You can still remember the tender moments and be honest about the harm of the pattern. This is not bitterness. This is emotional clarity. This is your nervous system finally choosing stability over the addictive highs and lows of inconsistency. And if they try to come back, your growth becomes the filter. You don't punish them. You don't shame them. You don't retreat into a cruelty, to prove strength. You simply require more than words. You require a pattern of presence. You require accountability that doesn't need to be dragged out of you. You require emotional courage, not emotional convenience. Because sorry y'all. Because the new you understands something the old you had to learn the hard way. Missing you is not the same as choosing you consistently. Regret is not the same as repair. Nostalgia is not the same as commitment. So yes, the deepest pain for them is realizing you outgrew the version of them that version of love that fed their distance. And the deepest victory for you is realizing that you outgrew the version of yourself that accepted it. Yep. Yep. Uh-oh. Okay. You're not here to be someone's emotional safety net while they keep refusing to build safety with you. You're here to be loved in a way that lets your soul breathe. You're here to be chosen without shrinking. You're here to experience a love that doesn't require you to become less of yourself just to keep someone close. And the moment you truly embody that, the story changes. Not because you wanted to hurt them, because you finally decide that you were done hurting. I'm going to tell you right now, I know avoidance that watch my channel cannot even handle what I just said to y'all right now. You know, when you learn, you should try, I would say, because we didn't have these terms when I was growing up that were prevalent. Like people, in casual conversation, oh, you're emotionally avoidant, or you're a dismissive avoidant, or what they call it, disorganized avoidant, or you're a anxious attachment style or a secure attachment style. We didn't have the language for that. We didn't have anything that would explain this in layman's terms for us. We didn't have it. Yep, they weren't trying to heal. They weren't trying to understand. Now we got a new generation of people who need labels to understand everything. So I kind of understand it. I don't need a label I don't need to label myself a specific way, but I do need to understand myself. So if a label with a definition helps explain a lot, I can maybe accept that. Maybe I'm multiple things, right? Because the duality of people is that we're not all one thing. You know, that's why they created those personality tests. And you could be an extrovert, INTF or INTP or whatever those words mean, right? Introvert, extrovert, and I can't remember the rest of those words, those acronyms. But the thing is, we're all not one person. We could be various types at different times under different circumstances. And the better we actually understand ourselves, the better we understand the world and the people around us, because and that also will help. It basically helps you move accordingly. When I started learning about an avoidant attachment style, I quickly started to realize there were multiple people in my life with various attachment styles that I can pinpoint, that I've experienced through them, right? And I also could see how they move differently with different people. So how they move with me was one way, how they move with somebody else was another, right? I learned about trauma bonds. I learned about breadcrumbing and all of those things, like gaslighting and love bombing, and what word salad. When you ask somebody a question and they dance around, they saying a whole bunch of nothing that sounds like they're answering you, but they're not. I learned. I did. And when I learned, I realized it helped me process what I was experiencing with these various people. It helped me learn that me standing firm with somebody could also be damaging my self respect because they weren't being firm with me, right? So I learned that sometimes, excuse me, we want to be the steady one. We want to be accountable. We want to stand our ground and keep our word and all that good shit. But at the end of the day, beginning of the day, it's really important that we are self-evaluating to recognize if we are wasting our time or pouring too much energy into something or someone who can't reciprocate, who can't respect, who can't hold safety for us. We're steady trying to heal ourselves, and then we want to heal everybody else too. Well, one thing at a freaking time. You get what I'm saying? Like, we can't do it all. We might want to, but we can't do it all. We have to decide, like, what is going to be important to us, who is going to be important to us, and why, and how that would impact us, really. When we like I said, there's avoidance in my life that think, all right, well, I could play this long game, and they'll just have to come back to me when I'm ready. When they feel like coming back to me, I can avoid them some more. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Spirit said no, they can't come back and do that. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that to you. Emotionally avoiding people like to say that you're the drama. You're the problem. You're the issue. They can't fix it with you because you're just too much. They need to be on their own. You just need to let them be on their own. And if you don't get anything out of these readings, I hope that you get that how important your self-respect really is, how your self-worth is more important than pleasing someone, trying to keep that person in your life. There's a lot of people that do not deserve your time, attention, or energy. It is your responsibility to guard all of those things. It's your responsibility to hold people accountable or move around and move on. If somebody's in the three of coins energy in reverse, they're not gonna cooperate with you. Work, life, or love, they're not a team player. And if you observe somebody not being a team player, then you have a choice to make. Either you're gonna be with them or you not. You know what I'm saying? Either you gonna ride out with that and put yourself last, or you not. You got to make a choice. I get here that there's an avoidant that avoids you but is stuck with somebody else with this Queen of Wands in reverse, a raggedy bitch, because the Eight of Cups is in reverse with the Queen of Wands. Now, regardless of how stuck they are, remember I began the reading, if you were here from the very beginning, there's a lot of transition, transformation, and metamorphosis happening with lots of people right now. And lots of folks try to avoid the accountability of this transition that they're happening, but they can't. Spirit said they can't. They may want to. So it's like, some people need to just do the work because the work need to be done. So that's a good choice, a conscious choice to put work and consistency in their life, right? To build themselves up, build their self-worth up, right? But if they don't, Spirit said no worries. Because we about to shake all of that up. And from what I'm hearing from a lot of people, that shift, if it didn't already happen, it is currently happening. It's about to happen. Not in a, couple 6 months from now type shit. Like fast changes. People are going to be having to deal with fast changes really, really quickly. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell, y'all. But again, someone is going to have to deal with these changes that they may not be accepting in their life. Spirit said, we don't care if you accept it or not. We're going to hand it to you anyway. It's going to be a dish served cold. It's going to be that karma for not turning your life around when you became self-aware that it needed turning and it needed changing. And that folks are not going to get away without serving karma, without receiving it. They're not going to get away with hurting you, harming you, knowing better, but not doing better. They're not. They're not. You could take it how it resonates. If it don't resonate, that's cool. Don't take it. But keep that in mind. If you are the avoided one, if you were the one out there harming somebody when you could have done better, you knew to do better, when the person tried to tell you, hey, I don't like how you're treating me, you're hurting me, and you didn't change anything, actually you continue to do the thing that hurt them, you gonna pay for that. If you didn't already, you gonna pay for that. You might pay for that in your job. You might pay for that in your other friend groups, family groups, the place that you stay. You gonna pay for it, and you will lose greatly, because it will. It's the universe has a way to balance your ass out whether you want it or not. That little pow pow that you thought you was going to get for that is way bigger than that. It feels like abuse. It'll feel like abuse. You may not like it, but it'll feel like abuse. So if you going out here doing good things for good people, you have nothing to worry about. But if you out here in the world and you harming people, you making them feel unsafe and confused, you hot, you cold, you in, you out, you disrespectful, I got news for you, because you part of the class too. You gonna lose a lot. If you haven't already, trust and believe is more to come. So take it how it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment in the comment section since the reading is now over. Let me know if the reading resonates with you and it was helpful. I hope it was. Also, I'll be on tomorrow night. This is Saturday, right? Tomorrow night, 9:30, live donation readings along with a collective. Don't know that if it will be class, but we definitely gonna have a collective. Uh, you know what? I did promise I was gonna pull a couple oracle cards before we go. So let me pull that real quick. Spirit, how did this person going? What's going on with them and this Queen of Wands energy, or how are they feeling with this Queen of Wands energy that they having a hard time walking away from this raggedy bitch? Oh. Okay, this was in reverse. It says, my karmic partner is feeling the effects of trying to mess with our union. They are desperate for relief. But that was in reverse. And my whole deck is upright. So with that being in reverse, it's giving like, oh shit. Spirit said, they ain't see nothing yet. I don't know. I don't know what is already, like the karma, Spirit says it's the karma, but whatever they started to receive, Spirit said they ain't seen shit yet. So it might have been hard. It ain't over. And they ain't seen nothing yet. So whoever this applies for, you better hold on tight. Because it's coming, and it's coming fast. Tell me more, Spirit. Wow. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. And if you are observing quietly what's going on with other people, and you minding your business for the most part, and protecting your peace, oh, it's going, the news will hit you. The news will be presented to you that will probably have your mouth on the ground like, oh, sugar honey iced tea, like that. Okay, so just keep in mind, you gonna hear it, you gonna know about it. It may not affect you though, you know. It won't have anything to do with you, but you will know. Tell me more, Spirit. Spirit saying you ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, and see, this person says, I'm always come back to you. Nothing and no one will keep me from you. Well, you know, we all know that avoidance, they come back. Why? Sometimes they come back to see if you still stupid. They come back to see if they can still have access to old version of you. They come back because they realize that you were the one that treated them the best, loved on them the best, invested in them, right? And they still want that energy they're not getting from anybody else. Those are the reasons why they come back. Some of them learn love, but they don't, you can't tell that they love anything until they show you consistency, that they breaking patterns, that they not ready, they're not willing to run every time they get intense about you. Tell me more, Spirit. You see, you minding your business, drinking your water. Tell me more. Is this what it felt like when I walked away from you? Oh no, we gotta fix that. So yeah, this person is feeling like, shit, I didn't know it looked like this. So by you walking away from this person, you are holding up a mirror that they're having a hard time looking into. They don't, like an avoidant wouldn't want to hear this message from you. Okay? Because that mirror is like, ooh, is showing them like they want to be stoic with you, right? When a person walks away on that hot and cold energy, they walk away stoic and unfazed and unbothered because they feel like, well, you ain't going nowhere, so that I can go over here and do this and do that, right? But when you actually walk away because you done with them and you're uninterested in holding that space for them anymore, or being involved with them, or just waiting for them to change or do better or treat you better, when your self-respect kicks in and you're over that shit, they see themselves, they realize, oh shit, I'm the drama, I'm the problem. They realize it then. Now, they may not know what to do with that information, but they do know they are the problem. So I feel like you are shining a light back on them. You are reflecting back to them who they are by just naturally healing from their bullshit and their patterns. Tell me more, Spirit. Yep, this says, I play a lot of games because I need to know if you really care or will you leave me. So you had somebody in this magician energy And this King of Cups in reverse energy that constantly played games with you, testing the waters with you to see if you would get angry, or you would respond, or if you would chase. All the things that made them feel self-assured in their ego that they ain't going nowhere. They still want me. But when you stop playing that game, you ain't checking in with them no more. You ain't trying to cool them, quell them, make them feel good about themselves type shit. You have let them go. Not letting, let them go. You have released them. Release their energy. Don't mean you don't care. You the Queen of Cups. Doesn't mean you don't care. Just means that you now care more about yourself and how you feel within your body, and you feel safe, and you don't want to feel confused no more, and you don't want to tolerate the lies anymore. They can't handle that. They can't handle that. Tell me more, Spirit. We're going to get up out of here shortly. I watched you walk away and choose you. Ha! Now I want to do the same and be consistent. Okay. So now this person is like, shit. The collective done walked away from me, and they stayed away from me, and they don't seem to be coming back. So now they consistent. This the new pattern, and because the new pattern don't involve me no more. So now they realizing, oh shit. Now I want to walk away from the shit I got going on, and I want to be consistent. But they have to now figure out how that looks for them, because this is the realm of emotions that this person hasn't yet dealt with. This is something they haven't fully experienced yet. Okay, this is something that is very unfamiliar to them. Walking away was the easy part, right? But they always walked away and looked back. They always walked away and observed you. You know, they watched you, waiting for you to chase them again. This type of walk away that you have done, that, and I mean past tense, that you have done by choosing yourself, is not a walk away from play. It's not a bunch of games. You checked out in an emotional way, in a calm way, in a healthy way. You may even be working with your own therapist just to heal. You're fulfilling your life with a different purpose. A purpose that doesn't involve somebody draining you or asking you to bleed on them after they cut you. One more and we out. One more in the bottom of the deck. Oops, what's that? Popping out. Yep, you are so divinely protected, and I feel so lucky and blessed around you. So yeah, this is where that 4 cups in reverse comes in. They realize that you were divinely protected. They also may know that you know, with your intuition, your spirit guides really do talk to you. Queen of Cups. You're protected. Your spirit guides wanted you to go through this situation with this person so that you could choose yourself. That you learn that lesson and you stop believing that love is supposed to be hard. Because that's a lie. I don't care what nobody say. Well, I love hard. That's you lying to yourself. You are putting energy into a situation or a space that doesn't deserve your time, attention, or efforts. Bottom of the deck. My karmic is miserable, and I want to seek revenge, but because I don't want them, they treated me bad. Okay, so your person is realizing they got treated bad, and they don't want their karmic anymore, but yet all I see is them focus on you. They ain't left the karmic. They may not want them, but they haven't left the karmic. Your person is still present with the karmic. The karmic still takes over their life. And I don't know why I'm saying touche, because it's not a game. But it is like a touche. Like, yeah, look what you did. What you did was destroy any of the desire. Ooh. Okay, Spirit. So they destroyed your desire to keep up effort, to keep being involved. They destroyed the desire systematically. Every inconsistent cycle that they took you through, weeded away at what you would have done. When you wanted to show up as secure attachment or even an anxious attachment, they eroded that every time they pulled away to the point where you realize, oh, okay, I can't do this no more. I'm done. So take it how it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it. But good luck. If this is your situation, good luck with that. I feel like you being calm and indifferent and choosing yourself and loving yourself, you cannot go wrong. This person, on the other hand, think you all are. If you are choosing indifference, meaning choosing your own self respect, you're no longer concerned what this person will or won't do. And I think that's the healthiest way you can see it. And good luck and God bless. So, again, take it how it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it. I'm going to bid y'all good night, and I will see y'all tomorrow. All right? Peace.